You may have heard me reference this before. I think there was a faucet that was turned on in my pain, where I was confiding and reaching out to too many people. I think I was doing that thing that hurt people do where like I'm hurt so everyone else is hurt. And it's like, no, not everyone else is hurt. Not everything that people discovered about them is necessarily a bad thing. Even if you take it as a bad thing, that's kind of their battle to figure out where it is place-wise. And I think one of my boys, when I first started this, he was like, I'm glad you started the platform because it's like really therapeutic for you. It was my guy Ryan that said that to me. And I said, yeah, but I don't think that's a good thing though.
Right.
Because it's very easy to replace something that's therapeutic with you actually getting help. And that's not a place that I want to be in life. Like one box that's in there filled and the other ones aren't filled. I usually just do everything at one time when I like put everything inside the boxes.
That might be cool for people to see the progression.
The progression of like box after box after box.
You're like, oh wow, you started with one shirt, now you got 5.
Yeah. But the thing is, I pay someone to do it.
Oh,
and
you
that's
do?
that's the thing. So it's like, if I could just put like a thumbnail in there to be fine, that'd be fine. But for the shadow boxes, since they're usually much more weight, I usually want them to be more secure. And then just the height of a shadow box falling to the floor on this kind of floor isn't nice. So.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have your 3 quotes?
3 quotes?
From your favorite episodes over the past 2 months?
I don't know that we talked about quotes. I know my episodes.
Oh, what's your favorite episodes?
Howard.
Or your favorite episode.
If you guys missed Howard, Brother Howard's episode on Monday, you got to check it out because that was a real DC, unadulterated moment. Like,
What's your favorite moment from the Howard interview?
I think Howard's. Just overall, Howard's bilateral is not the word, but
you be having a nice vocab on you.
Double-sided experience where he's trying to be great. He's trying to do things differently, but he's got all these negative exposures that keep pulling him in. So it gives us insight to people that we see all the time. We're like, man, that guy's got so much potential. Why is he always, messing up? Or how did he end up there? It's like, people are really fighting their own demons. And as much as they might try to internally get away from it, they've still got their external influences that are constantly tugging on them. So,
I think what was most fascinating to me about Brother Howard's interview was when we got to do you have a mental health emergency plan? And when he referenced that, things don't get done unless I'm the one who does it. So I am the mental health emergency plan. And at that moment, what I didn't realize, but I've thought about this, hey, if I'm from a background that lacks resources, or I'm from an environment that was similar to the environment like his, what the hell is a mental health emergency plan gonna do for somebody like me and the weight behind that? So I think when we ask people about mental health emergency plans, which we saw this with Eli, it was, is my kin taken care of, then we take care of me. But not a lot of people have I've talked to a therapist or a mental health professional. They've told me what my emergency plan should be, and then when the emergency happens, or if we see an emergency happens, I do the proper, I take the proper steps for my emergency. I think a great example of that would be Noah's interview, where he talked about implementing the mental health emergency plan in reaction to the George Floyd situation, calling his coworkers and his job to let them know I have to go to the hospital, and seeing what life would be like in taking care of an emergency versus everything is still on me at the end of the day, and how much of a difference that makes.
Yeah. I think from like a medical perspective, you're talking about a safety plan. I think the difference between Noah and Eli and Brother Howard is that Brother Howard just started therapy. He's not been in therapy. And so when he was having those ideations, he didn't even have the resources to think of a safety plan, or, so I think that's the big difference. But shout out to him for getting therapy.
Yeah, and we also asked him the right questions too. He was headed to therapy right after our interview. And even for somebody like Eli, who's had those resources for years, he brought up, hey, when I talked to the doctor, they did say we would come up with a plan or a plan of action, but nothing really came of that. And then, like, in my head, it's like, well, it is your responsibility, but as the person dealing with a mental health situation on the regular, or something that you may not be used to, it also comes down to the people around you. Are they prompting you or looking into, hey, we're just following up on this plan of action in case something happens? Because, like, even since we had this talk, I hit Eli up, hey man, you got that plan? Nah, not yet. Boy, it's been like a month and some change. What's going on? I think, and it's not, I don't take it personal, but in doing these interviews, as a friend, I come to realize, hey, I do have to stay on top of my friends and their health situation if they're not able to stay on top of it. While acknowledging, hey, they got a lot of stuff that's going on. It's not solely my responsibility, but as a friend, I would like to be like, hey, friend, we had this talk and you do need this thing. Are you good, or what's going on?
Yeah, I think that's a big burden to carry, though, Juice. Like, ultimately, it's the person with the illness who knows the most about the illness and has to want to be safe and better. And so you can ask all day long until you're blue in the face, but if they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. And then you're using your energy that you could be using on your own mental wellness to help that person. So, I feel like although Eli has lots of people around him who have experienced bipolar, mania, and depression, it is up to Eli to take control of his own well-being and health and safety. And kind of like Noah was saying, maybe the family members are not the best people to be in charge of your safety plan. You need to talk to your coworkers or whoever.
Or acknowledging that trust is necessary.
Yeah.
Like, I think something that was really insightful with Noah's interview was, growing up, the people closest to you might be viewed as your enemy when you have like a mental health breakdown.
They're often your triggers. I mean, so.
Yeah, and when he said that, I was like, because I was like, I never thought of that. But then, like, for you as a pediatrician, are you ever faced with that, where it's just like figuring out your patients or your clients' boundaries with the people around them as you give them advice? I don't know if I asked that correctly, but that's like something I think about. All right, so as a pediatrician, what are your 3 primary jobs? I know it's a kid's job to grow. That's like one thing that I love that you said.
Oh man, I don't know that it's just 3 jobs, but if I'm approaching a new patient, the things that I want to focus on in the 20 minutes that I have with them are...
It is 20 minutes.
One, I want to address any like social issues that might be interfering with the child's health. And so that includes mental well-being. So, what is the parent-child relationship like? What's their life like at school? What is their housing situation? Do they have enough money for food? Those things. I want to understand the child's overall health. So, like, do they have asthma? Do they have allergies? Are there medications that need to be refilled? What is their nutritional status? Are they growing? And then I guess the third thing that I'm assessing is like readiness for the future. So like, that's when we talk about development. So, okay, this child is 5 years old and they are not writing their name. Why is that? Is that because of a learning disability, or the parent just isn't investing in them? or they're not in the right school situation. So those are the things that I tend to focus on. But all throughout that encounter, I am observing the parent's relationship with the child. Like, you know, are you screaming at the child in front of the doctor? Because at the doctor's office, you are on your best behavior, right? And so if you cannot keep it together enough to not smack your child in front of me, or to not yell at your child or verbally abuse your child, then that gives me insight to like what it's probably like for that child at home. And so at that point, that's when I try to mediate using my own childhood experiences. I have an understanding of like how that child must be feeling, so I can communicate that to the parent, and then try to get the parent to not engage necessarily at that point, but try to get the parent to be open to a conversation with the child psychologist who can improve that relationship. Because, you know, then this is where other things that are not necessarily part of my job become part of my job. It's like, okay, what is this parent dealing with? Like, does this parent have a job? Are they in an abusive relationship? What was their childhood like? Like now I'm, you know, psychoanalyzing the parent, like, you know, so, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I approach.
That was insightful.
Things. Yeah.
No, that was insightful. The reason I asked that question is like, so we do so many interviews that people see us as those are the people that do the interviews, right? So like, for example, for me as a mental health advocate, and I realized I need to start making content about what it means to be a mental health advocate and why advocacy is important. My top 3 things are, do you know what you're going through, right? So sometimes we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation with someone about depression or about ADHD, and I'll be like, man, that kind of sounds like someone who's depressed from prior conversations that I've had of what someone's going through. Or, for example, we've recently had a couple of interviews about bipolar, and when I was talking to my partner about the difference between, from what I'm seeing, between depression versus bipolar, depression, which sucks, right, is no matter what you're doing, the situation just has no upside to it. That's what I've come to understand about depression with people who are dealing with depression. When you say no matter
what you're doing, what do you mean by that?
So when you're, like, let's say you're having a slow slide into depression. You go from being happy to no longer really being able to be happy. Food doesn't taste the same. Your favorite shows aren't really doing it for you on the kick that you would need endorphin wise, right? That's how I've come to see depression from people that tell me, yeah, I'm dealing with depression and this is how it pops up in my life, right?
Okay.
Now, on the other side, from what I've come to understand about bipolar from people's stories is, bipolar is your mind and body trying to work its way out of becoming depressed. So it does this thing to fight back where it's like, well, we need to accomplish things because accomplishment is what gives us endorphins. And in order to be accomplished, we need to now be hyper. Not everyone's hyper when it comes to bipolar, but in everyone's stories, there's always I started doing more and more things to have an uptick to either feel accomplished. So for example, Noah's story, when he told us when he's bipolar, he's having what was that, hypermania? Was that the word that he used in the interview?
There's mania and hypomania.
Okay, yeah. So explain mania.
Mania is the full-blown version of like, you know, what we call the Kanye West effect, which now Kanye West said that he's autistic, he's not bipolar, but where you're doing erratic things and you might be more aggressive. Like in Noah's story, he told us that he was, he felt like he had to speak at a public government event that was honoring the mayor. So like that would be like mania. Hypomania is more subtle. So that might be the more, like he was saying, trying to accomplish things like, oh, I'm gonna start a new business and make $1 million in a week. Like, you know, people be like, all right, you could try it, but like it's not necessarily affecting others yet. And it's not to the point where an intervention is obviously needed. And so he was saying, I think that when he starts to get hypomanic, that's when the safety plan needs to be put in place.
And from his description of mania, especially when it comes from someone being bipolar, from what I've understood, is that is what your mind and body are doing to fight the depression. We need to accomplish things. We need to get active. We need to have proof that, like, look, we're trying, look at all the things that we're doing. And then the crash that happens is your body can't keep that rate of progress and work. And that's when the crash out happens. And then when the crash out happens, it's like, from what I'm seeing or what I've viewed in everyone's stories, in being bipolar, there's a hill that you go up and then you come down real hard. From depression, you're kind of already at the bottom of the hill and you're kind of trying to figure out, all right, how do I become no longer depressed, or how do I work on these things, or what things do I need to move around and manage in my environment, because I don't know how I got here, but I do know I would like to no longer be here. So without the hill. So you're more trying to figure out, how do I go up? And then in going up, where can I put my pickaxe and chill on this part of the hill as I'm trying to get better and improve the environment around me?
I didn't get that from Noah's description of bipolar. It sounded like stress was his main trigger. I didn't hear necessarily from him that depression was, or like oncoming depression was the trigger. Because even when he was talking about like his first episode, he said he was trying to do too much on campus. Like, he was the president of SGA, he was like Black Student Union, he was, doing businesses. So he was overworking himself and overwhelmed, which caused a mental break. But yeah, I think we've got to do some more reading to see if that.
Oh no,
if
most
there's actually
definitely
a link between, like, a person who's manic trying to fight depression. Yeah, because then he also said, like, the depression came from when he realized everything that happened while he was being manic.
Yeah.
And so just feeling a lot of shame about the things that he had done that might be irreparable, because his life is exploding and then he's having to put the pieces back together so many times. But shout out to Noah, because he's been without a manic episode for at least 3 years. So that's great.
Yeah. And I mean, he also advocated for himself when it came to the doctor who gave him the one medication that wasn't really working out, and he was like, hey, can we put both together? And then for you, it's always, working with you is enlightening for me, because it shows, hey, not all positions are the same. One doctor is not the same as the other doctor.
Right.
So what did you bring up about, I think it was a doctor who's in training versus a doctor who's well-seasoned, who understands, hey, that's how you're supposed to handle it?
Oh, no. Those are not both doctors. One of them is a nurse practitioner.
Okay.
Who was a nurse. They did not go to medical school, but they did some extra training. Let's say they went to a graduate school, and now they can do the same things that a doctor who went to medical school does. And so, of course, their knowledge base is not as strong. They don't have the best foundations, and so they come up with things like, one medication is going to cancel the other medication out. That's why you can't have both, like Noah told us. Whereas the doctor, has a better understanding of the pharmacology of things, like how the chemicals actually interact with receptors in the brain and like what the mechanism of action is. And so they can titrate medications in a way that is tailored specifically to the patient, not necessarily like, oh, generally we give this for depression. Generally we give, that's more like what a nurse practitioner might do, but a physician can think outside the box a little bit more.
That may have been the best.
No shade to nurse practitioners.
I was going to say, that may have been the best "we are not the same" moment I've seen from you. Wait, we are not the same.
Those
Okay,
are not doctors,
I just want to clarify this, okay? Went to school for this, all right? A lot of money.
It's crazy how that's one of the flaws of the American healthcare system, right? How can somebody who went to school for half the time as a physician do the exact same job, and we call it equal care? Like, that's inequitable, because a lot of people who are of color do not know the difference between a nurse practitioner and a physician. My mom, who raised a doctor and has some, has pretty good literacy skills and understands medical language, she does not know the difference between a nurse practitioner and a physician. She's going to a nurse practitioner dermatologist, and I'm looking at what this person is giving her. She's calling them the doctor. She's like, yeah, the doctor gave me this. And I'm like, yeah, what are the letters behind this person's name? Because I don't know why they're prescribing you these things. And then she tells me, I'm like, oh, okay, let's get you over here to this one Black physician who is a dermatologist. They're going to have a better understanding of like what's actually going on with you. So Yeah, it's important for us to share the difference in things.
So that's another place that needs more awareness in our
Yeah, words
community.
mean things for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to read up in order to understand what those words mean and why they're in place. So like, if I didn't have you as a host or as a friend, I would be just like mom in
Right,
that
yeah.
instance. You feel me? Like, oh yeah, no, a doctor. And you hear them say nurse practitioner, you're like, just not a doctor.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. A lot of people don't know what MD means. I learned that early on. I never wanted to be Dr. Jones, or like I'm not signing my name Dr. period Jory Jones, because like that's also PhD, and PhD can do that. But if I put MD behind my name,
Yeah.
I walk in the room, people still say nurse. Like it's on my shirt. It says Jory Jones MD, but they don't know that that means a doctor. They still call me nurse. So
And you're like, I can't correct everybody. Or do
I
you?
do, because
Okay.
it sets the tone for the conversation. If you think I'm a nurse, then you're like, where's the doctor? And it's like, no, I'm right here. And
Yeah.
you're not getting something different. Like that's another thing. People's biases and prejudices come out in those settings. So like, yeah, I'm black, you're black, but somewhere in your mentality, it's impossible for me to be the doctor, right? And so just that's part of the education, is just like telling people like, hey, nope, I'm a black woman, I'm a doctor. Yes, I look young, but I'm actually pretty old for like in terms of doctor years. So yeah, I think that's part of what Raising Risers is about, right? It's like teaching people the truth instead of like allowing these myths that were perpetuated when people were very uneducated live, like allowing those myths to continue to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things that came out in Howard's interview, which I try my best not to speak on, or like, you know, get it, because we could have really gotten into a long debate about how the government is trying to like keep you on medications and things like that. It's like, I mean, maybe there was a time, but I don't know that it's the government's mission necessarily to keep people on medication. Like that's pretty expensive. So what would be the benefit of that? Maybe there is an incentive not to give you the best medications, because I do see that with Medicaid. Like I don't know if I was explaining this to you, but I definitely was explaining it to one of my friends' sisters who just had a baby, but the baby's on Medicaid, and so was prescribed antifungal ointment for a yeast infection, like a diaper rash, but it's not the typical. Like typically you would give nystatin. This baby had clotrimazole, which I've seen for like ringworm or like athlete's foot. Yes, they're both antifungals. Yes, the clotrimazole might work, but I know for a fact that the nystatin is going to work, because that's what you prescribe for that. Like that's the most potent. But because the baby's on Medicaid, maybe that's why that provider didn't prescribe that medication. So it's like little things like that are inequitable, that may keep black people behind, which perpetuate the myth that like, oh, the government is against me. They just want me to have this, or they're poisoning our food. They're doing this on purpose. I think maybe it's more of like an economical decision. And then because black people are poor, generally, they don't have access to the better. Like, you know, black people can't go to Whole Foods every day, you know? So it's more of an access thing than a conspiracy, I think, you know?
Would you say pharmaceutical companies play a part in this, or not really at that point?
No, because again, the pharmaceutical company is making everything.
Yeah.
They're making the good medicine and the bad medicine. So not necessarily bad medicine.
That's a great point.
But they're making all of it, and it's up to the insurance company or the government to decide what they're going to give to the people of the lowest income levels.
One day I want us to have a conversation about insurance. There's like so many things that I've heard from you as a doctor that has to do with insurance, that it doesn't make me wonder, because like we already know it's a crapshoot when it comes to insurance in terms of patients, but I think you have like a different insight that someone like me who's a patient wouldn't think, dang, that's what the doctors are going through every time they're trying to just do right by their patients.
Yeah, the perception is that the doctor didn't do their job. The doctor don't want to do their job, but it's like, no, I swear to God, after I left this conversation, I went and put the medicine in that we talked about, and you didn't get it for 3 weeks because one, maybe the pharmacy doesn't take your insurance, or two, the pharmacy didn't have the medication covered by your insurance in stock, Or 3, maybe the medication that I prescribed is not covered by your insurance, even though it's a superior medication. And so I had to figure out an alternative that would do about the same job, like about as good of a job, but less expensive for the insurance company to cover. So it's definitely multifactorial. And that's one of the things that I hated most about being a doctor, is that I don't have as much power as I thought I was going to have, or as much as people think I have. Like, I am an employee. I am a cog in the wheel, so to speak. Like, I'm a figurehead. Yeah, so.
All right, let's pull a card.
Yeah, which one? Do you want to do a fun card? We've been talking about serious stuff, so let's do a fun card.
Let's do a fun card.
Yeah.
Just to let everybody know, today, Jory has brought the games. She
Yes.
has great taste when it comes to games.
Thank you.
And she's also really good at beating people at games.
This is called Anatomy of R&B. I believe I got this off of Instagram or YouTube or something. All right, we'll keep it PG.
Okay. Okay. Whatever you say is definitely the right choice. Learned that a long time ago.
I should probably just take all the cards out.
Oh, it unfolds like that? That's kind of nice.
That's annoying. It's annoying.
Is it? Does it just
was
fall
falling
out?
apart while I was trying to
okay.
just...
That went from nifty to, I could see how that wouldn't be nifty.
Okay. Choose the best non-singing singer from the following: Keith Sweat, Alicia Off Keys, Slim from 112, Jennifer Lopez / Ashanti.
Was Slim the one that was like 112?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a 112 song. I'm thinking Peaches and Cream, but I can't.
Yeah, that's
think
like
of
the only song that comes to mind when I think of them. That's actually kind of, damn. Only Peaches and Cream?
No, they've got more songs than that.
No, I know, but like in our head, like the song that comes up is very limited. It's just, you just hear Peaches and Cream.
That was a banger in middle school.
Do you hear any other songs after Peaches and Cream when you think of 112?
It's not coming to mind right now.
All right, cool. We're gonna go with them. Slim 112.
Slim from 112?
Yeah.
Dang. I would say Jennifer Lopez Ashanti. The best non-singer singer.
J-Lo is low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Low-hanging fruit. Ashanti had a lot of bops. She had a lot of bops.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
But she's not singing. I wouldn't put
Rain
her...
on Me?
Rain on me. No.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Rain on Me. Yes.
Pain
Not even a
from
question.
me.
Yeah. The
I
video.
don't want to leave. I don't want to go, but I...
Doom. Man. Who produced that beat?
That's the most non-singing singer. Look at that song, the one that you were just doing.
What, the Rain on Me joint?
I shoulda go. But do the beat again.
Doom. Oh. Doom.
I can't wait to get next to you.
So she's a singer that doesn't open up her mouth.
She's
That's what that brings up.
Yeah, non-singing singer.
You said, look at you, Juice. Look at what you're doing. Look how much. All right, so what's a J-Lo's song of reference that we could think of right now?
Love don't cost a... That's not even the melody, but...
She just doesn't excite me. I'm sorry. As soon as you started that song, I was like, yeah, I'm not excited.
That's the right answer.
Yeah. J-Lo. That's sad how we came to that answer. It was like, how much, like, even for Slim, for 112, we like get excited, got to jail. Oh, yeah. She is in a group, isn't she? Oh. All right. You want me to pick the next card?
Oh, I got another one.
Okay, cool.
Confessions of a F-Boy, the most trifling song. Where I Want to Be, Darnell Jones. Literally any song by Trey Songz or Drake. Boyfriend Number 2 by Pleasure P.
That was a hilarious song. Boyfriend Number 2.
That was my cut. I like the Boyfriend Number 2. I'm going to play that on repeat.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one,
And
yeah.
the last one is Buddy by Music Soul Child.
What's the question?
Confessions of an F Boy, the most trifling song.
Trey Songz.
Any song by Trey Songz?
Any songs by Trey Songz. I used to be
When
a
he was
huge
like,
Trey Songz fan.
I guess
Huge.
I was thinking his first one. I don't want to leave, but I mean,
But I
why you gotta go? Why you gotta go? Why you gotta go? Where you going?
The most crying singer. He perfected the look. I'm gonna cry when I'm singing, and that's gonna be the highlight of this video. Like that man, he milked the hell out of the crying face in the black
And the
community.
crying face makes you think that he's really hitting a note, but he's not really going that high.
Well, he's selling the product of look at how it feels on me.
Yeah.
You should feel sad about.
It's
Look
the
how
experience,
attractive I am. Why aren't you sad for me?
But he's
I
got
have
some
to
bangers
go.
too. Yeah.
Great
Yeah,
bangers.
I
Great
like Trey
bangers.
Songz,
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna pick the last one, and then we get back to these breakdowns. Pop quiz. Choose a player to answer the following Jeopardy style. You're the only player that's available. This ordinary person got his first big break on Lauryn Hill's Everything is Everything. This
Is it
actually really
D'Angelo?
great. No. Very close though. I'll give you 2 more tries. He is a guy.
I pulled that out of.
Really?
I don't have another. I was trying to even think of the song.
It surprised me too. I didn't know this.
Okay,
You want
go
the
ahead.
answer?
Yeah.
John Legend.
Oh, okay.
I was like, wow. I looked at that. I was like, oh, this is, see, great game selection.
Great
you
game.
see that?
Yeah.
Great game. You want to do one more in case they have like a pop quiz? You know?
I don't like the pop quiz.
Oh, okay.
I
All
like
right.
the multiple choice.
Okay.
Erase one person from R&B history.
Oh, wow.
Just off the top, who do you think?
Oh, just one.
I'm gonna give you the answer, the choices after, but just off the top, who would you say?
If I could choose someone to erase
erase
from
one
R&B history. Oh. I can't do Music Soul Child. Too many classics.
Yeah.
I loved his music. It's kind of sad I don't listen to him anymore now. I'm thinking about it.
You might have to pull him out the archives.
You said what?
You might have to pull him out the archives.
Damn, I feel like you got to go back in the day now because like who really makes R&B anymore? Ooh, I like Sir. Sir makes great music. R&B.
We're trying to erase one. We're trying to erase one. We're not trying
but my head keeps coming up with ones that I like. You feel me? So you might have to do the selection because each time it's like, nah, that person was a classic. That person did great.
This isn't on the list, but I'm gonna say Ryan Leslie.
Get out of here! Get out of here! Stop!
He had one song.
Stop!
You don't think about him until you did he?
Stop! Oh, someone has to stop her. Someone stop her, please. Not Ryan. Not
He's
Ryan.
only got one song. We wouldn't be losing
That one song is amazing. If you're gonna erase someone, at least erase someone who doesn't have a song like, hey, that song shouldn't have been a hit. Like, why was that song good? That's kind of what that category is. Like people watch him for fun. People go on Beyonce's internet. Is Beyonce's internet or is it Blue Ivy's internet? Whose internet is it right now? You know what folks be saying, the peoples be saying on social media, right?
I'm not gonna say anything about them. I don't want to get
to produce that song, like him producing that song, there's a separate video that has a following of people that says, hey, if you read the comments, I come here for fun when I'm down to watch him produce that song.
What song did he produce?
That one song that you're referring to.
The one that he sang? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's one song, Juice. We'll be fine.
That one song was a hit.
Right.
You'll be fine.
Obviously,
I'm not fine. You see how I'm acting
yeah.
over here?
The choices are Chris Brown, Neo, Justin Timberlake, and Usher.
How did Usher get on this list?
He's R&B history for sure. He's several decades in.
Justin gave us Cry Me a River. And that one album that freaking dominated for 6 years that gave birth to a whole bunch of other. Ooh. Neo.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Neo has produced so many
Neo.
hits of other people that you
Neo.
probably don't even know about.
We're just talking about things that they've made as
No,
a
we're
singer.
saying R&B history.
Just see that's
I'm saying Justin Timberlake. He gotta go.
what?
He's not even at the cookout.
Timberland. If you take away Justin Timberlake, Timberland's career isn't the same.
That's not true. Missy Elliott carried Timberland.
Yeah, but you had the in-betweens of Missy Elliott stuff. It was Missy Elliott and Justin Timberlake. Not at the same time, but I'm saying like there was like a part 1 and a part 2 to his career.
Timberland survived with Timberland can do fine with Missy Elliott and Nelly Furtado. The stuff he did with Fat Man Scoop. I mean, he doesn't need Justin Timberlake.
You have you ever been a dancer or anything else like
on
that?
a dance team?
Like folks battling,
No, definitely wasn't battling.
I wasn't crumping. Is that the name? The Step Up movies and stuff like that. You literally take away a decade of battles in between with Justin Timberlake's music.
We can do without the battles.
You weren't a dancer. You just said you weren't one of us. I was out there battling folks, fam.
We're talking about the other people. We're talking about
you wasn't
the entire 2000s to 2010.
You weren't battling folks. I just asked. I said, hey, were you a dancer that was battling folks?
But listen to me.
Were you in the streets?
Listen to me. R&B history. If we take out Neo, we're taking out a whole decade of records that not he sang, but the ones that he produced that are major class. He produced some stuff for Beyonce.
Yeah,
if we take out Chris Brown, we're taking out 20 years of music. We take out Usher, we're taking out 30 years of music.
I said Usher shouldn't be on this list. I said the first thing I was like, why is Usher on this list?
He's R&B history.
Do you listen to Neo stuff anymore?
Yes.
When's the last time you listened to a Neo album?
That's what I'm saying. Neo has produced so much stuff that we would be erasing all of the stuff he's produced. I'm not talking about necessarily all the stuff that he's sang on as a singer. I don't think Neo,
So what you're saying is Justin Timberlake has less of a history in R&B, period, is what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, then yeah, Justin could go. Because he was more pop anyway. That's why I was like, why is Justin on the list if Justin is more pop than R&B? To me, that's weird. Why is he on this list? All right, if Justin wasn't on the list, who would you take off though?
Out of the other three?
Yeah.
I'm not really an Usher fan. I'll have to say Usher.
I'm hurting.
I liked Usher up until about the Confessions album. But God! All of his newer stuff after he got married.
You said Tamika, Usher can go. Usher.
Out of the other two, Neo and Chris Brown, I'm saying Usher because I only like, half of his catalog.
I'd say Chris Brown.
Is it because you're holding a grudge about Rihanna? So?
No, not at all. It's just, you got the abuse thing. We can't, talk about his work. I don't do the separate the artist from the music thing.
You don't?
It's not true. It's like, look, man, the person did the thing, guys.
He was 17. God damn.
But there were other women after that. Rihanna
I guess
was
Karrueche came out after. Yeah.
And then, if you look at, a lot of his other relationships, you're like, damn, boy. I mean, he's grown now, but it's like, yo, that was 15 years of fuck-ups. Where people are still either harassed or stuff like that.
A child star who experienced domestic violence. I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying
the adult now is still doing the stuff.
Yeah, but like we were talking about Howard, you try, but your external influences are still there with you. I mean, even if the external influences are now part of your internal makeup, I mean, it's hard to just change that overnight, especially if you're in a public eye and you're famous and stuff.
I'm not saying overnight. I'm saying these habits take practice. Even the people that have changed, like Howard, to me isn't a good example because Howard didn't just change. Howard turned over new leaf. You said, I went from robbing, then I had a kid, and I was like, oh, we can't be robbing anymore. We got to chill. We can't do all the hood stuff that was fun to us.
It's only been a year for Howard.
That man has made amazing progress by himself in a year.
After what was that mixtape he did?
That was a great mixtape. I worked out to that mixtape a lot.
So
this
after
summer.
that mixtape, he was doing good, and then he messed up again, and then he was doing good, and then he messed up again. So I'm saying, Howard, the jury's still out.
Howard is a fresh product, but he got you as a doctor.
No, he used to.
Yeah.
We'll see. I hope he's doing okay. You put that in.
The context is gonna be weird, but sure, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. I mean, you fuck with him. We keep it. He was nice. Great interview. Yeah. It came a long way.
I mean, if he comes back, if he comes to my events, that's all. I mean, yeah, he don't owe me nothing. But yeah, we'll see.
If you take away Usher, you take away Justin Bieber.
Yeah, who likes Justin Bieber? He's pop anyway. He's pop
people,
anyway. He's not R&B.
A lot of people like Justin Bieber.
Do you like him?
He's cool. I haven't liked his recent stuff. I was like, ooh, you
were part of the baby train. Oh, baby.
No. My friends were, which was like funny. I was like, oh, you guys really love him. I'm not. No. But I'm happy for you guys.
Yeah, no, I don't. There's nothing about Justin Bieber. Like a real miss.
You said nothing. Nothing comes to mind. Doesn't move me. Doesn't warm me up. Nah, nothing at all.
No.
All right. So I think one of my favorite episodes was Dr. Wolf. When she was explaining her top 3 mode of operations as what was she considered again?
She's a child psychologist.
As a child psychologist, her 3 concerns. And I was like, oh, this is so nice. Because like, for me, I'm just trying to work with therapists. You feel what I'm saying? I'm trying to get folks therapy. I am, hey, why don't you guys have therapy guy? Now, from the beginning of why don't you guys have therapy guy, because that came with trauma. My bad, getting a notification for a meeting. Get back to that in 10 minutes. Anyway, when you go from why doesn't everyone have therapy, and then you realize therapy is expensive, and then you realize not everyone's ready for therapy, and then you also realize, hey, therapy only works if the people around you want said therapy and are willing to work on themselves, which are 2 very separate things. Because you can want therapy and then realize, wait, so I have to work on myself while getting therapy? That's not really fun anymore. That kind of puts a lot of the onus and responsibility on me, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of what therapy is, or at least your awareness of things. For her, it was refreshing to hear about what psychologists, when it comes to children, are concerned of, because now I work with you, right? So before, in my work, it was like young adults up, right? So 18 forward. With you, it's like kids, what's going on at home. It's making me think different, not only about content, but like, who am I allowing myself to work with, and why do I work with these people, and who I shouldn't work with. And in her discussion points, me as an advocate, I've never thought, ooh, are these questions that I now need to start looking into when it comes to people getting help? Like, do I need to start making a list of, hey, these are questions you should ask anytime you're looking to get help across the spectrum outside of just therapists? It made me think, as an advocate, am I doing the right research about the people that I'm suggesting other folks to? Because a lot of folks are like, hey, man, just get the medication. And I'm big on, it sounds nice until that person's on medication and there's a side effect we haven't looked into. As an advocate, am I advocating correctly, or does it just sound nice to be like, well, I'm an advocate, we did all these things, and it's like, no, that's not the game.
We got 4,500 people to better help.
Man, have you seen all those commercials, like the uptick of like therapists on social media lately on BetterHelp? I look at it and I'm just like, are you guys hurting that bad that you need the BetterHelp check, or is the bag that big that
it's that big because people don't
question your morals, or did you just not have morals before? Great name and branding.
And people are, mental health awareness, all that is trending. So capitalize on it. I wonder if they're a public company. You might need to invest.
You said, while they're there, we might as well.
As soon as the Target stock drops below 100, I'm getting it.
Did you hear about that book that came out about Mark Zuckerberg from Meta and stuff like that? I'm gonna give you the book. I was watching. I'm gonna send you a couple of interviews about it. So long story short, there was this whistleblower that referenced what Meta was doing for the last 6 years prior to now, and this was during the investigation about all the suicides and young teenagers and women who were affected by what Meta and Facebook were doing. Well, Facebook before Meta, we got to do the accusations correctly because Meta ain't do nothing diabolical yet, but we're waiting because we know it's coming. That's not what this is about, though. And long story short, the marketing team and the program that they came up with was collecting data for these companies, and they were pitching companies saying, hey, we know when young teenage girls are depressed and we know what our platform is doing. Would you guys like to get in on pitching your products to these girls and kids who are depressed to take advantage of their mental facilities being out of sorts with being depressed? And I was like, that is so dark, but it's not surprising.
Yeah. I mean, at least it's a little bit of balance.
It's in a book. It's in a book that I have here.
So I have a question for you, Juice.
What's up?
Why haven't you gotten therapy?
There's like 3 good answers because I was thinking about that this week, right? So therapy, I think when I first started the work, it was very much a, what's the word that I'm looking for? Redemption era, like a redemption arc for my friend. I don't feel...
You feel like you didn't do enough for your friends, so you were trying to do everything for everybody else?
I mean, do you ever feel like you've done enough when one of your people passed away and you were there when everything was going on?
I did, but I got therapy.
Now, I've always had survivor's guilt way before this work that I did. Like before coming from New Jersey to DC when I went to college, one of my best friends were shot execution style 2 blocks down the street from my house, right? And then I came to DC where things got better. DC isn't any softer than New Jersey, okay? But I came to DC where things got better. Had a lot of folks here, made a lot of friends, a lot of relationships. And then I started losing people, not just to like suicidal ideation or anything like that, but I did lose people along the way. And I think when it came to the most important loss so far in Nisha, I think what happened is this person educated me on mental health, and I took pride in that person educating me in mental health. And then I was under the assumption, okay, now that I know these things about them, I should be able to help them.
It's like
right.
You're perfect for
And then
battle.
everything hits the
And
fan.
then Dunks was associated.
2 times everything hits the fan. So you have 3? No, there were 3 times. So the first one was in the summer after she graduated and she had her first full-time job. And the second one was when she had her second PR job. And that was really not good how things played out there. And the third one was right before we lost her when she was finally on medication. And I think what that did was it made me want to get people help in therapy so they didn't go what I went through. But I don't think I ever consider myself as a part of the plan as someone who needs or wants help because of that guilt. Now, I think when it comes to my situation, it's really just money now. Because
You don't have the money?
I feel like I don't have enough money to consistently get therapy because I hate getting help and realizing, all right, are we going to be able to afford this next month or the month after? That's like a fear that I got from my parents when it comes to like paying bills or taking care of things. So it's like, I do have the mentality of, hey, do we have enough to do what we need to do and be comfortable in doing what needs to happen? So right now, because of the change in situation where I'm currently covering for my partner with the whole layoffs and everything else, now there's like, all right, I want to get therapy. Like I really do want to get therapy. She's heard me talk about this before. And this year coming in was supposed to be the year I said it at the beginning of the year when the ball dropped. I was like, all right, look, I'm going to be serious about getting therapy around February, March. I'm going to start looking into resources and letting you know I'm going to start scheduling stuff, right? Because me not getting therapy hasn't affected my relationship, but you're a better person coming out of therapy. There's like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But now that everything's happened, it's kind of just like, all right, you got to cover these bills. You got to make sure she's covered while looking for jobs. But before, it was just your fear of getting therapy and not seeing yourself as someone who would like or need help. And now it just feels like I'm in a rock and a hard place because of what's going on right now.
Yeah, can I challenge you?
I guess I don't think anyone ever says. I'm not always the, oh yeah, all challenges. This is a bit personal, so I'm really gonna see what you got to say.
We got all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, you gotta put yourself before the work, so to speak, right? Like, I think you can make it happen if, like, you really wanted it. And so I wonder, is there a part of you that's still like afraid of therapy?
No, it's not. There's more guilt than being afraid of therapy. Because, like, the way survivor's remorse works, it's not like, oh, I'm just guilty. So, since I'm guilty, I don't want to get things done. It's more like you do battle with the do I deserve better outside of what I've accomplished also.
So the guilt around stopping this is preventing you from moving.
Like I've thought about it, like when we weren't together, which is always funny because, like, you know, I talk about all my relationships like a relationship. I was like, I might take the summer off to get help and work on myself. Like that's literally been like a conversation for the last 3 weeks. Like, hey, can I do these new ideas with Jory, right? While setting her up towards content, giving her the right tools and everything else. And we build the platform together for this year. Can I allow myself to take a summer off from all the work that I've done for the past 5 years? Like, really, like, take a summer off to not make any content, not post anything, still do my work for Forest Therapeutics and everything else like that. Cause like, I'm super excited for that. And then, like, get the help that I need between therapy and also figure out, depending on how I feel about things after I get therapy, like, let's say I get therapy and I no longer want to do Mental Health Monday because I've gotten therapy and things feel different. That's terrifying to me. Like,
Well, that's something you talk to your therapist about. Yeah. It's okay, Juice. Let me get you a tissue.
Appreciate you. Yeah, nah, that's scary to me. Cause, like, you kind of know what you know in life. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, would I, after getting better, want to put effort in still helping other people when you realize how much work it's going to take for you to really, like, get better when you open that door up? Yeah. I think that's, like, the most honest answer.
I'm glad you shared that. And I hope you feel a little bit of relief that you said it out loud, because then it can help you think more forward, you know.
I got you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you asking that. I was like, hey, it depends on what you ask. I'll see what I got for you. So
Yeah, I'm glad you were honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought that while we work together? Like, why doesn't he get help? Or I think it's something that, like, I do think about often. It's like, it is a conversation. So, yeah.
I think it would help you. If you got therapy, it would help you bring more to the platform too. So, like, I mean, I refer to my own therapy a lot. I think it helps me communicate better. It helps me empathize a little bit more. And I feel like sometimes there's a disconnect. Like when I'm talking to you or when you're talking to other people, there's just the slightest disconnect. And I feel like therapy could help you let that guard down a little bit.
Like when you say disconnect, like how so? Like, do you have an example?
It's like you heard me, but you didn't really hear me. Like, it's just hard to articulate without like it happening in the moment. But I'll tell you next time it happens. Yeah.
You can be like, hey, that's it right there. We got you. Time step 72.
Yeah, and it's not just you. I hear that. I feel like that with a lot of people, and I feel like maybe there's a part of me that operates in that way. Like, I feel you, but I just cannot engage in that emotion right now. That's sometimes how I operate. So I feel like that might be why I attract people like that.
How do you think therapy has affected you?
Oh, I'm way better at communicating how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, and being honest about my experiences. Like, to say to a camera, like, yeah, I got low self-worth. I never would have been able to do that before. But like, just understanding that I'm not alone. There are a lot of people that are dealing with it. People dealing with it and they don't even know that that's what they're dealing with. So like, putting a name to it is helping people, and it's nothing to be ashamed about. Like,
Yeah.
you know, your experience is unique, but not like so unique that you're the only person dealing with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I'm able to accept, and this is just in the time that we've known each other, I've become more open to accepting like genuine friendship and love. Like, I'm not suspicious of people's intentions as much as I was before. Yeah. I'm better at conflict resolution. Like, I don't feel like people are attacking me necessarily.
Yeah.
When before, like, I had to be perfect in all things, right? And so if anything came up, like, oh, you didn't do this one thing, it was good, but you missed this one thing, then all I heard was you missed this one thing, and now I feel like I go into a shame spiral, and I cannot hear anything else that the person says. I cannot really take that feedback in and make it better.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of stuck on like, oh, I'm not perfect, I'm a bad person. But I don't feel like that anymore.
No, that's good. I think what probably changed in me after everything was said and done in, was it 2018? I think you may have heard me reference this before. I think there was a faucet that was turned on in my pain, where I was confiding and reaching out to too many people. I think I was doing that thing that hurt people do, where like, I'm hurt, so everyone else is hurt. And it's like, no, not everyone else is hurt. Not everything that people discovered about them is necessarily a bad thing. Even if you take it as a bad thing, that's kind of their battle to figure out where it is place-wise. And I think one of my boys, when I first started this, he was like, you know, I'm glad you started the platform because it's like really therapeutic for you. It was my guy Ryan that said that to me. And I said, yeah, but I don't think that's a good thing though.
Right.
Because it's very easy to replace something that's therapeutic with you actually getting help. And that's not a place that I want to be in life. And now I'm at like 100 episodes. But like, I've never used Mental Health Monday as this is my place of therapy or this is my place of getting everything out. I think I enjoy hearing people get better, and I enjoy hearing people struggle while knowing that they're working on getting better and they have the right people around them. I think that's what Mental Health Monday and Get Home Safe has become for me. But I also enjoy not burning out to help people, because like, you and I know with the work that we do, it's not really forgiving on the person who starts the work or tries to figure things out, or even on the relationship side. You see me say like, hey, you're gonna have to move on fast from a lot of relationships, because there's gonna be more people that disappoint us than people that hold us down, but then ask, well, how come you haven't made the thing, or when's your next thing that they're not gonna show up to? So in order to insulate myself from things like that, I think I just work harder. But as I said before, therapy is probably like been the top of my 2025 bingo list of things that like I need for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard something recently that like when you are not like genuinely passionate about what you're doing, or you're not doing it because that's what you want, you're doing it for other reasons, you're more likely to get burnt out. So like for me, I never really wanted to be a doctor. Like I was doing it because one, it started out with going to that summer camp was like a way to get away from home, like, and be on my own at the tender age of 13. Two, oh, my parents really like that I'm doing this. This is going to make them proud. I could be the first doctor in my family. I'm going to keep going. Three, like, oh, wow, I can help the community. People are going to look up to me, and like, I can be the Martin Luther King, so to speak, of, you know, this generation. But none of that has anything to do with medicine, right? None of that has anything to do with what it actually takes to be a surgeon at first or a pediatrician. And so, yeah, I'm burnt out because I got a lot riding on it. Like my worth is dependent on whether or not I am viewed in a certain way in this role. Like that's why I have to do 10 things. Maybe the 3 things that I listed out about how I approach my patient encounters, that's probably not how every doctor thinks about it.
Yeah.
But because I have to address every single thing in that 20 minutes, I'm going 100 miles an hour as soon as I get in the room. That's what Howard said. You straight to the point. You just like, what's going on with your son? It's like, well, I feel like if I don't cover everything, then I didn't do a good job, and then I'm not a good doctor, and then nobody will be proud of me, and then I'm a failure. Like all of these things
That's humble.
are surrounding this one insignificant role in the grand scheme of things of like being a pediatrician. So, I mean, for you, it's like the guilt around your partner's passing because you feel like you didn't do enough. Now you have to keep doing this indefinitely. You've already done 100 episodes. Like when we were talking at the beginning of the year, like what are you trying to accomplish? You've already done so much. You've already covered so many topics. The information is out there. Like what are you trying to tell people that you already haven't said? I think if you let that go, then you will get to some of the other things that you've shared with me. Like, oh, me and Amani want to figure out what fun looks like for us. Or like, I don't want to work every day. Or like, you know, just like you want to do your IT stuff. You want to get like all these things that you got to record, you got to buy cameras, you got to buy lights, you got to work overtime at Players Club. Like it's in the way. Yeah. You're not, I don't see you reaching your full potential of life. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I think we should end the episode here.
We should end the episode here. Should we end with a question? Oh man, look, that was the one that came out.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is the fun one. You're on a deserted island and only have one movie to watch for the rest of your life. Which do you choose?
Why did I say Castaway?
The irony.
Yeah, I'd say it wouldn't be one movie. It would be all of John Wick movies.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like 4 movies, right?
I've never watched it.
Yeah. Oh man. Ooh,
I'm not into adventure films, so I don't know if I've shared that with you.
I think we've talked
Or
about
action
that
films,
lately.
it is. Action films, yeah.
What movie would it be for you?
I'm really trying to think. I go through my spells. There was a time in my life where I was really into like Wedding Crashers, like all the Vince Vaughn and what's it called? What's the guy's called? Oh, Will Ferrell. I was into all those movies, but I don't know that at this stage I want to watch those for the rest of my life.
Which one? Step Brothers? Was that the movie?
Oh no, I didn't like Step Brothers. That's when I started getting disinterested.
I think that was the one movie you were like, yeah, I can't do Step Brothers, but
No.
the rest of them is fine.
Yeah.
Blades
40-Year-Old
of Glory?
Virgin.
Did they do Blades of Glory together or no?
Oh,
40-Year-Old
yeah.
Virgin.
The Judd Apatow stuff. I really like that. But 40-Year-Old Virgin, I think I could watch that for the rest of my life.
I never finished that movie, but that movie was
What?
funny. I just
my
remember
gosh.
it was either on TBS or TNT at one point, and like anytime I had to watch movies and if there were commercials in between it, I would just become quickly disinterested. And that was like way before streaming services. So like HBO, yeah, now I could do a full movie on HBO. But like an ordinary network,
Why'd you get disinterested?
commercials just take me out. Commercials have always taken me out. Like if there's commercials on something now, I'll just go into the different room and be like, hey, just call me when it comes back.
Yeah, I noticed that I get on social media when the commercials come on now. But yeah, I didn't watch it with commercials. I had the DVD.
Does your DVD player still work? Do you still have a DVD player?
I gave it to my mom. You know, she's nostalgic. But yeah, there's so many great lines in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
What's the greatest line from 40-Year-Old Virgin?
I'm trying to think. I can't remember it word for word, but it's like, you remember the bald dude that worked at the store? He was talking to the Indian dude, and he was like, some nigga. He was like, no, I'm your son, nigga.
I think my favorite line from John Wick is, you killed his dog. You have to watch the movie to get it. That's why, I don't know if you know, but John Wick is all based off of this man's wife passed away and she left him a dog. And the whole movie goes south because his car gets stolen, and in the middle of the robbery, they decided to kill the dog, which was the last gift his wife left to him.
John Wick is a superhero.
He's an assassin.
Oh, yeah. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
No, I hear you. It's a lot of love in the movie, though. It's a great movie. All movies, there's a lot of action, but the characters that are built in it are amazing from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So I think it's a movie that would do well without the action, but the action takes it over the top, which makes it amazing. Because you're like, oh, all these people are dying, but it's like, what reason? What values did this assassin have? How did love change him in terms of love with his wife? What did he do to get out of the game, and how this brought him back into the game? And then that becomes a whole shit show for like the last 3 movies after. Halle Berry makes an appearance in one of the movies. It gets ridiculous. Morpheus. So now we see Neo and Morpheus on screen again because he makes an appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Given what we just talked about, I can see how you identify with this movie. But it doesn't sound like something.
Oh, no. Still a great movie. It's so great. All the big networks make sure, like, hey, can we have a John Wick property of some kind?
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Jackal? Now, that's an assassin.
Wait, are you talking about the one whose gun was in the suitcase?
His gun was the suitcase.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, this is genius.
That boy is cold.
Came out, you saw what he did to his platoon?
I forgot.
Okay.
That wasn't the most impressive.
But you've watched it,
I watched
right?
it. I remember they were out there. He told the one boy, like, oh, come on, let's go over here. And then he blew up the truck.
Yeah, killing all his folks.
Yeah.
Not one forgiven. I was like, oh my God.
I forgot why he did that. But when he hit that boy from the 20-story building, you know, 3 blocks away. I haven't watched it yet,
but I don't mind the spoiler, so it's fine. No, you're fine. You're fine.
That first episode goes hard. Like, oh shoot.
Yeah. How do you do it? How do you pull that off? Where could he be hiding it? When she did the whole suitcase breakdown, turning it into the gun, I said, yo.
Yeah, you gotta watch it because there's so many things I want to say right now.
Is that gonna get another season? Because I heard it was phenomenal.
It should. I don't know. It just came out.
Okay. Yeah. Does she survive at the end of the season?
That's what I was gonna say. She deserved to die.
Deserved to die. Say less.
I think she didn't actually die. She got shot, but then they brought her back. I was disappointed that they brought her back the next episode, actually. Like, girl, if you don't get out of here.
You say, yeah, she could go. Throw her out with the bathwater.
It was one of those cliffhangers where you're like, oh, she did. And then they bring her back. Magically, she just got shot in the arm or something. Like, how did Sniper just get her in the arm? Come on.
Nah, that's hilarious. Hilarious. Well, do you want to do the exit or do I do the exit?
What's the exit?
This been another episode of You Can Sit With Us.
Oh, this is the new podcast name. You Can Sit With Us?
Yeah, it's just Mental Health Monday presents You Can Sit With Us. Just saying that whole thing is too long. That's why. Because now we have the table. It's the You Can Sit With Us thing. Because, you know, what was that from? What's the name of the movie? You Can't Sit With Us.
Mean Girls.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I might have to change my movie to Mean Girls.
You're like, Mean Girls. Mean Girls got some stock.
Mean Girls has a lot of classic lines too.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, the exit.
You just got so serious. Exit.
Because we can keep talking all day, Juice.
Yeah,
I know you got a meeting.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in. This is another episode of Mental Health Monday, the You Can Sit With Us edition.
Yes.
Peace.
Like, subscribe.
Share and comment.
Peace.